Proper breathing for heavy lifting is important. We need to achieve as much stability as we can to lift as heavy as we can, and we also need to protect our spine. There are basically two options. The one is the Valsalva maneuver, where you take a big breath in, hold the breath, lift, and then breathe out when you're done. The second method is called power breathing. You're again going to take a big breath in, but this time as you reach the sticking point of the lift, you're going to release a bit of pressure by making an S sound through your teeth. So it's going to sound like this. There are quite a few misconceptions about the right posture for lifting and the breathing. So when you're taking that big breath in, you don't just want to breathe into your belly like a lot of people recommend. Okay? That's not the best position. If you look at the diagram behind me, what happens if you take a big belly breath, then you just fill up the space here, okay, and you create a sway back. So lifting with big arch is not recommended. The tailbone, usually if you've got an excessive sway back, the tailbone is going to stick out excessively. Okay? So if you imagine that your torso is a cylinder, you do not want to bend the cylinder. On this side you can see what happens when you're using the right position and the right way to breathe in. So I call it 3D breathing because basically you're taking the breath not just around the stomach but also out to the side and through the back. Okay, of course your lungs are still in the same position, but what you're going to do as you take that big breath in, you're going to contract the rib cage and try to bring it down towards the pelvic bone. Okay, so that's called anchoring the ribs. You don't want to let, here you can see, you don't want to let the rib cage tilt up. You want to bring it down so you create a nice tall cylinder that is as straight as possible. Now when you're taking a big breath in, you're going to expand that cylinder, okay? And now, by using the muscular action, you're going to compress that cylinder. And the only thing that you can do is elongate. Okay, so you get a flattening of the back, and you want the tailbone to be in the optimal position. Okay? We don't want to tuck the tailbone under. That is not a strong position to do deadlift and squats. It's okay for some gymnastic positions, for push-ups and stuff like that, but personally I don't recommend it. I try to maintain the straight back as much as possible and the pelvis in its neutral position. So the mistake people do here a lot of the time is that they just draw the navel in, like that. That is not creating a strong contraction. That is not anchoring the ribs. You can still flare out and draw your navel in at the same time. So to demonstrate that cylinder concept, I've strapped on elastic around my belly button, and I've got a ski pole in front of me, strapped to my chest. Okay, so in that neutral position, my spine is tall and elongated. My tailbone is in neutral position, so the pelvis is slightly tilted forward. Now, if I sway at the back, see what happens? I just push the stick away from me. If I take a big belly breath in, I also push their stick away from me. If now I tuck my hips under, my tailbones, the stick wants to go into my throat. Okay? So that's not a good way to flatten the back. And we also, of course, want to avoid rounding the back. Okay? So let's look at it when doing a squat, for example, or a deadlift. Okay? I take my big breath in. Now I'm anchoring the rib cage and nothing is moving, everything is staying in one place. Okay, so this is what we want to achieve before we start the lift and descend into the squat or the deadlift.